Hello, everyone. Welcome to Life Plus Grace in Life, where grace flows through life and your life gets a plus. Okay, so today we're talking about something we all want more of: confidence. But have you ever really stopped to ask where the real stuff comes from? You know, the kind that actually lasts? We're about to dig into a really powerful sermon from Pastor Peter Wan that tackles that exact question. And trust me, the answer is probably not what you're thinking.
So let's just start right here. Think about it for a second. When you feel confident, what's really behind that feeling? Is it because you just nailed a big project at work? Maybe somebody gave you a nice compliment? Or is it your job title? Let's be real honest with ourselves. Got something in mind? Okay, good. Hold on to that because we're about to put it to the test.
You know, this whole thing kicks off from a place of, well, real vulnerability. Pastor Juan actually admits that when he was a young man, he was so insecure he couldn't even look people in the eye. I mean, think about that. That's more than just being a little shy. That's a deep, painful insecurity that I think a lot of us can probably relate to on some level. And his big assumption back then, it's the same one most of us make. We think confidence is just a personality trait. You're either born an outgoing extrovert or you're not, right? We see those people who can just own a room and we think, wow, that's just who they are. I'm just not wired that way. But what if that whole idea is just flat out wrong? And this is the first huge idea that changes everything. The pastor makes this really key distinction between your personality, like your Myers-Briggs type. It's about how you behave, and your inner nature, which is about who you fundamentally are. And here's the absolute game changer. He says that while your personality is pretty much set in stone, your nature can be completely renewed. So, real confidence isn't about trying to fake being an extrovert. It comes from something much, much deeper, an internal transformation. Okay, so if it's not our personality, then where have we been trying to get our confidence from all this time? Well, it turns out most of us are building our entire sense of self-worth on two really, really fragile foundations. Let's break them down. First up, our accomplishments. You know that feeling, right? You get that promotion, you absolutely crush a presentation, or you just finish a massive to-do list. It's this huge surge of confidence. It feels amazing. But is that a feeling you can actually build a life on? The analogy in the sermon is just perfect. The confidence you get from your achievements is like caffeine. It's a temporary boost. It gives you this great jolt of energy, this feeling of self-worth. But it always wears off. And then what happens? You need another fix. You need another achievement just to feel that good again. You get trapped on this endless performance treadmill. And that leads us to the second shaky foundation, comparison. Oh man, this one is everywhere, isn't it? Especially with social media. This is the confidence that doesn't come from our own intrinsic value, but from how we think we measure up against everybody else. He calls this confidence, and I absolutely love this term. Your self-worth comes from being smarter, or richer, or thinner, or better looking than the person next to you. You see the massive, massive problem here, right? It has absolutely nothing to do with who you are. It's 100% dependent on who you happen to be standing next to.
And Pastor Juan tells this amazing story from high school. He was the #1 math student, and he felt awesome about it. He had all the confidence in the world. Then a new kid named Freddie transfers to his school, and Freddie is like a legitimate math wizard. And instantly, poof, the pastor's confidence just vanished. He had this huge realization. What he thought was confidence was actually just a lack of competition. His confidence was totally hollow.
Now, you might think this is a modern problem, because of Instagram and all that. But it turns out this is an ancient problem. The sermon uses this incredible metaphor from the story of Moses to show just how deep this flaw in our thinking really goes. So the story basically goes like this. Moses has this powerful encounter with God on a mountain, and when he comes down, his face is literally shining. I mean, glowing with divine glory. It's this incredible, visible sign of his authority. But here's the catch. It wasn't permanent. Day by day, that glow started to fade a little more. So what did he do? He started wearing a veil to hide the fact that his glory, his biggest external source of validation, was slowly running out. And that just brings it right back home to us, doesn't it? How often are we doing the exact same thing? We're relying on the fading glory of a past achievement or that one compliment we got last week. We put on a veil, a confident front, to hide our deep down fear that maybe, just maybe, our source of confidence is running on empty. So if accomplishments and comparisons are just fading glory that we have to hide behind a veil, what's the real answer? Well, this is where the sermon makes a radical shift. It says, stop looking outside of yourself for validation and start looking inward. And this is the idea that just ties it all together so beautifully. It's this move from confidence, which is based on external ranking, to what he calls confidence. And this confidence simply reflects an inner change. The whole focus just flips 180 degrees. Instead of asking, am I better than them? The question becomes, am I becoming a better version of me? And that kind of confidence, it doesn't fade with time. It actually grows. But here's the crazy paradox. The advice is to actually stop chasing confidence as a goal. The second you make confidence the target, you fall right back into that comparison trap, trying to be more confident than someone else. True, lasting confidence, the sermon argues, is just a byproduct. It's like the fruit that just naturally shows up on the tree when you've been spending all your time and energy watering the roots. So what does watering the roots actually look like? Well, in this framework, it means focusing on cultivating these character traits, what the Bible calls the fruit of the Spirit. Now take a look at this list. Love, joy, peace, kindness. Notice what's not on the list? Confidence. It's not there. And that is the entire point. When you focus on growing in love, in peace, in kindness, in self-control, confidence just shows up all on its own. It's not a mask you wear. It's the real you finally shining through. And this really brings it all home. Chasing confidence through what you do is a treadmill to nowhere. But a confidence that grows out of your character, out of who you are actively becoming, that's real. That's unshakable. So for our Life Plus moment today, maybe the question we should ask isn't how can I get more confidence, but instead, who am I becoming today? Just focus on that and watch what happens. Life Plus, Grace and Life. See you next time.